Welcome into the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com for Saturday, March 4th. Big day at Gulfstream Park, and that's where we're going for our weekly podcast. Tom Leach here along with Jim Goodman, Keeneland's Director of Mutuals and Simulcasting. Lots of graded stakes races starting in the 7th with a Grade 3 Very 1 for fillies and mares going long, 1 mile and 3/16 on the turf. I didn't see a standout in here. What about you?
Yeah, this isn't part of the late pick 4 or even the pick 6, but it's a nice race. $150,000 Grade 3. I think Suffused, the 4-horse, is probably going to be the favorite in here, based on mostly recency. She actually won a 1.5-mile race at Gulfstream on January 28th, the La Proviant, and coming back at 1 mile and 3/16. So that's the only thing that I question. She is 2 for 6 at the distance, but she might be better at 1.5 miles. She only missed the E.P. Taylor last year, Grade 1 at Woodbine by a nose to Alsgal, and so I think she's the class of the race. But she might be a little bit vulnerable at this distance. I'm interested to see Alorda, the 5, return for Chad Brown. She won the Witch at Keeneland last April, but she's been off since then, so she's obviously had some issues. She's got a lot of class, and she's got a lot of speed. So Alorda might be a choice at a price here. Suffused is going to be the favorite. And then if Paco doesn't test Alorda with Earring, the 6-horse, I think Alorda could take him a long way. It depends on whether Paco tries to go to the lead with Proctor's horse. But I think Suffused is my pick here, but I might put a little bit of a saver on Alorda, hoping she's ready out the long layoff.
That's where I'm going. I'm going to try to beat Suffused and get maybe a little price on Alorda. They shipped this horse over last fall and put her in 2 Grade 1s, so they obviously had a really high opinion. Didn't really click for her, but she didn't win this race last year in her 3rd start in this country. Long layoff here, but that's not a lot for Chad Brown to overcome. It's something he's shown he's very capable of doing, getting one ready to win long off that kind of layoff. So I'm going to try Alorda. Suffused, Quiet Kitten, Try Your Luck are the other ones that I would use, but I'm going to key off Alorda for exacta wagers in the Very 1. The 9th race is the Grade 3 Palm Beach. This is 3-year-olds going 1 mile and 1/16 on the turf course. Occasionally you'll get a horse that ends up in the Derby out of this race. Chance for these 3-year-olds to go long. I'm going to take the 7-horse Pagliacci, if that's how that's pronounced. And the main reason is this horse won first time out for Bill Mott, and that doesn't happen a lot. Second start, I thought there was a little bit of an excuse with the off track, so I'll cut him some slack there. And that nice win first out around 2 turns for Mott on this course is going to be enough to sway me. I thought Snap Decision for Shug was really impressive last time. That one's got to be in the mix. Channel Maker ran in the Breeders' Cup. Cowboy Culture coming in from the fairgrounds. Could have stayed there for Brad Cox, but coming in here. So I think I'd just do an exacta box on those 4, but for the win pick, I'm going with a 7 Pagliacci. How about you?
Well, I went with Cowboy Culture for one of the reasons that you mentioned. Brad Cox shipped him here off that win at Fairgrounds, and there's plenty of turf races at Fairgrounds as long as they stay on the turf. But this horse is 3 for 3, all at a mile distance, all at Fairgrounds in Churchill. Giroux comes to ride the big race here, and of course he's going to take this Cowboy Culture here. And if you look at the last race on February 4th, the horse that ran second to Cowboy Culture is Gervin, who came back and won the Risen Star on the dirt last week. So that flatters Cowboy Culture's last race a lot. Sometimes you look at fairground shippers coming to Gulfstream and you toss them, but I think Cowboy Culture is a real deal here. Giant Payday, the 3, returns to turf after a couple of maybe not so great dirt starts. Kitten's Cat, the 4, won the $100,000 Kitten Joy last out. That's kind of appropriate for a Ramsey horse. And Channel Maker, the one that you mentioned, has been idle since the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. But I think Cowboy Culture is a pretty good play in here for Brad Cox shipping from Fairgrounds to Gulfstream.
We'll move to the 10th race, and this starts the late pick 4 that is all stakes races, culminating with the Grade 2 Fountain of Youth. This is for 3-year-old fillies going a flat mile, the Grade 2 Davona Dale, named for the great Calumet Farms filly. And you got a full field of 14 in here. Where did you land?
Yeah, it looks like a Keeneland race, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Races for 3-year-old fillies. I landed on Miss Sky Warrior. I don't have a strong opinion there because I like another horse a lot, but she's stuck on the outside. Miss Sky Warrior won 3 straight at Aqueduct last fall, and 3-year-old debut today for Kelly Breen, who's 6 for 21 at Gulfstream, so he's done well. He's spotted him well. Paco's been aboard all 4 previous trips, so Miss Sky Warrior, I think, has got a real shot in here. Pretty City Dancer, the 12 horse, off the Forward Gal, grade 2, off a little bit of a layoff since September, and she won the spinaway in a dead heat last year at Saratoga. So she's already got a grade 1 on her resume, and this would move her forward, looking down the road toward the Oaks possibly. So Pretty City Dancer for Leigh Peru and Mark Cassie. Don't like the 12 hole a lot in a mile race at Gulfstream. And I don't like the 13 for Brahms Cat, but she came out of the same race, the Forward Gal, and she might have a shot at improving. I'd use those 3 in the pick 4, plus possibly one more, Summer Luck for Cassie and Giroux on the inside. But my very tepid pick is Miss Sky Warrior, the 7. I would also go with Pretty City Dancer, the 12. It's hard to say. Pretty City Dancer. Say it 12 times. With an exacta box for those 2, and really I think she may be the best horse in here if she overcomes a 12 hole.
That's, I think, the one on class that you'd certainly lean to. But just looking at numbers, she hasn't really seemingly improved a lot from where she was. And so I wanted to shop around a little bit and try to find a little bit of a price in here. There are a couple of maidens that I think are intriguing. This will be a deep race for me when we get to the pick 4 tickets. But I ended up taking a shot with the 14 Champagne Problems. This one flashed some talent last fall. She ran in a key race at Churchill that produced a bunch of next out winners, including her when she came to Keeneland and won. Ian Wilkes goes to his go-to rider, Brian Hernandez here, and she had a little bit of trouble in her 3-year-old debut, so I think she can improve off that at a price. Pretty City Dancers, got to use that one. Miss Sky Warrior, Summer Luck, and then a couple of maiden winners, Aspen Hilltop, the 11, and the 6, Ellie's Honor. I thought those were both impressive maiden wins that they had. And if looking at a race that doesn't have what I think is a standout, a talented maiden can be a little dangerous. So I'm actually going to use all 6 of those in the pick 4. But my win pick is going to be Champagne Problems in the Davona Dale. The 11th race is the Grade 3 Canadian Turf at a mile on the turf. And end up going to Projected here for Chad Brown. This horse is newly gelded and first Lasix, coming in for one of his big clients, Juddmonte. Really good pattern of works. And a lot of changes here. And this is a field that I didn't see any real standouts. So it's a long, long layoff. But I'm going to take a shot with the 2 Projected. Heart to Heart, I think at a mile is really dangerous. Not sure he's quite as good as he has been in the past, but a mile distance ought to be really a good fit. Bondurant, I think, is a talented horse that could improve off his last start. And then Giant Run's really run well on this course before. So the 3, 4, and the 6, I'll use all of those along with the 2 Projected in my pick 4 ticket and probably just in a 4-horse box for that particular race. What about you in the Canadian Turf?
I'm taking a stand here. I'm intrigued by your horse. I don't see in the running lines, you're looking at European races. Of course, they don't show you what they did at each call, but it looks like that the horse doesn't go the lead. So I'm going to assume Heart to Heart may get an easy lead here and take them wire to wire. I like the last race at a mile and 16. Got caught by Flatline and Almanar and Devisadero. That was to me, that's a much tougher race than this one is. I mean, those 3 horses there, I think they'd all be favored here. So I think Heart to Heart is a deserving what I think will be a favorite here, and I think the race flow favors him as well. I'm going to take a stand with Heart to Heart. I can make a case for Projected as being a new face from Chad Brown with obviously first Lasix over here and first time gelded. So, but I think Heart to Heart has the race flow advantage. Dragon Bay for Lannery might be a little bit of a long shot on the outside on the 7 hole, but taking a stand with Heart to Heart, singling in the pick 4, the 3-horse.
12th race, the Grade 2 McDiarmid at a mile and 3/8 on the turf. And got Chad Brown with a couple in here, so he's always dangerous. Where did you land?
I landed on 1 class horse and 1 recency horse. The class horse, Wake Forest for Chad Brown, the 4-horse. I mean, anytime that this horse is in, he's going to be around the finish line. And he won the Man of War last spring at Belmont, so he's a Grade 1 winner. Just got beaten the Northern Dancer at Woodbine by a neck by the Pizza Man. So I think Wake Forest, simply from a class standpoint and simply for the respect that everybody has for Chad Brown, it seems to be a broken record. But every time we have a big turf race at Gulfstream, we stick with Chad Brown. And the other horse, because of recency, is Taglib, who beat a nice field, including Sadler's Joy and Patterson Cross, last time at W.L. McKnight at 1.5 miles. Shortens up a little bit to 1 3/8, but I think Maker's got this one ready, and Gasleon takes the mount again. He's won 2 in a row on him. So I'm going to go there with my second choice. And my third choice would be the other horse coming out of that race, Patterson Cross, who improved 10 points on the Buyer scale for Bill Mott last out and just got beat by Lynx at 38-1. So he was on the lead and got overtaken at the end. And this is a little bit of a, you shorten a little bit to 1 3/8. So Patterson Cross might have a little bit of a tactical advantage if Lescano can get him to the lead from the outside. I just think Wake Forest is a class, and Taglebe is the best horse in form right now. So I would take a stand with those two and possibly add Patterson Cross for a third one in the pick 4.
I needed Patterson Cross to improve 11 Buyer points last time. I had him with Taglebe. Boy, I wish he could have held on. He's one I would definitely use on my ticket on the pick 4 in here. I'm going to go to the 5, Charming Kitten, another Maker horse. So this horse is second off a layoff. It's a 28% angle for Maker. 4 wins at Gulfstream I also like. So Charming Kitten plus Bigger Picture for Maker and Taglebe and Wake Forest and Patterson Cross. And if you want to go one more, another Chad Brown, Mr. Maybe, the 6. So when we get to the pick 4, this is going to be several spread races and a single for me. And that will get us to the 13th race, and that is the Grade 2 Fountain of Youth. Always a big prep for the Kentucky Derby. 3-year-olds will go 1 mile and a 16th. I took the favorite Irish War Cry. Couldn't get too creative here. I just thought he was real impressive last time. Jumped up to a 97 Buyer. Motion knows what to do with a Derby prospect. He won the Roses with Animal Kingdom. And this horse just, to me, looks awfully strong here. Reports say he's training well. Looking for 8, I think, is intriguing for maybe the underneath play, because this one ran behind Battalion Runner, a real highly regarded Pletcher horse, came out of that race and won, was bet down that day and won very impressively, and it appears to have been a private purchase since then. And for Cassie and one of his main clients, Gary Barber. And if you're going to get to the Derby, if you, I'm assuming you buy that kind of horse thinking you can get him to the Derby, and if you do, you got to start accumulating points. So I'm kind of taking it as a sign of confidence they're putting this horse in this spot. So I think that one's a little dangerous, but I don't know if he's just good enough off the maiden win to beat a horse like Irish War Cry, but certainly can hit the board. The 6, Practical Joke, the 7, Gunnavera, are others I would use, as Irish War Cry is going to be the key horse for me in the exactas, and I'm going to single him in the pick 4 to keep the ticket manageable. How about you?
Well, I think Irish War Cry is a logical choice here, but since I'm singling Heart to Heart in the earlier legs, but I go to pick 4, I'm going to go 4 deep here. He would be my first choice, but you get horses sometimes who he ran so good in the Holy Bull. He jumped up 14 Buyer points. If he wins this race easily, he stays the Derby favorite, I think. But there's a couple of it here that intrigue me a little bit. 3 Rules, the 7 horse, came into the Breeders' Cup Juvenile off 5 straight wins, and nobody got within 3.5 lengths of him, and went off at 7-1. Didn't run very well out there, and I'm going to assume he didn't like the track at Santa Anita. Didn't ship well, whatever. 2-year-old, you never know. But he came back in the swale, and they looked like they said, well, he's not going to be a mile and a 16th horse and probably off the Derby trail. And he ran really well in the swale, and I think it sets him up well for this race. And they're going to stretch him back out to mile and 16th and take a shot with him here. So those 5 wins last year were pretty impressive as 2-year-old. So he regains a semblance of that form. I think he's right there. Practical Joke for Chad Brown has been off since the Breeders' Cup Juvenile and ran 3rd there, got beat by 7 by Classic Empire, but he obviously could take a step up. Horses improve a lot from 2 to 3, obviously. Looking for 8, I can make a case for Cassie, but I'm like you. I don't think he's good enough off the maiden win. The other one I would put in there is Gunnavera, who ran 2nd in the Holy Bull, but he was so far behind Irish War Cry, he's got to make up a lot of ground. He did have a little bit of a tough trip there along the rail, so maybe he needs a better trip. He doesn't have a lot of speed, so he's got to work out something from the back of the pack. So Irish War Cry is my pick, but I will go a little bit deeper on pick 4 here.
Best of luck with your wagers. We should do a pick 4 ticket. Let's jump in there before we close this out. I'm going to use 6 from the Davona Dale that I mentioned. In the Canadian Turf, I'm going to use Let me find it here. I'm going to use Heart to Heart, Projected, Bondurant, and Giant Run. So 4 there. In the McDiarmid, I want to use Charming Kitten, Bigger Picture, Wake Forest, Taglebe, Patterson Cross, and if Mr. Maybe, if you can afford to go that deep. And then I will single Irish War Cry on the end to make the ticket affordable. If you want to start scratching off horses to bring the ticket down, I'd take out Mr. Maybe first in the McDiarmid, and then the next one I might take out would be maybe Bondurant in the Canadian Turf. How about you?
I'm going to give out a $24 ticket, but I'm going to do a caveat here. If you can afford more than that, I would add more horses in the first leg, the Davona Dale, to keep you alive. I'm going to use 4 horses, Summer Luck, the 1, the 7, Miss Sky Warrior, the 12, Pretty City Dancer, and the 13, Brahms Cat. And then I'm going to single Heart to Heart in the second leg, the Canadian Turf. I'm going to go 3 deep in the 12th race, the McDiarmid, 4 Wake Forest, 9 Taglebe, and 12 Patterson Cross. And then 4 horses in the Fountain of Youth, the 2-horse Gunnavera, the 6-horse, and I got to get my notes here as well, 6-horse Practical Joke, the 7 Three Rules, and the 8 Irish War Cry. So 1, 7, 12, 13 with 3, with 4, 9, 12, with 2, 6, 7, 8 for $24.
Best of luck on your wagers on the Saturday card. Great day of racing down at Gulfstream. Another Derby prep, by the way, at Aqueduct, a Grade 3 Gotham, so don't forget about that one. We'll be back next week for another edition of the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.